Welcome to another program of WaterAction 411. I am Shan Fazeli, and I will be with you for the next 30 minutes talking about the water shortage and water crisis in California, Arizona, and Nevada. Thank you for listening to your favorite Lotus radio station. You can find us, all these programs, on YouTube. Simply go on the online and search for WaterAction 411 with Shan Fazeli. And Shan spells like S-H-A-N. There's no W or there's no U on that one. Or like us simply on the Facebook.com/WaterAction 411 with Shan Fazeli. Or if you have any questions or suggestions, send us an email at info@wateraction411.org. We all would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you, and I love to know that you're listening to us. You're listening to this program, and I'm not talking to myself. Please share this message with your community and make sure to conserve water wisely. Remember, we are the children of one planet only. Save water, save our planet, save your money. Here are some tips to save water.
Aquí algunas recomendaciones para ahorrar agua.
Turn off the faucet or tap while you are brushing your teeth.
Cierre el grifo mientras se lava los dientes,
Washing your hands,
o se lava las manos,
or washing the dishes.
o lava los trastes.
Take a shower instead of taking a bath.
Tome una ducha en lugar de un baño largo.
Turn off the water while you soap up or washing your hair.
Cierre el grifo mientras se enjabona o lava el cabello.
Take a short shower instead of the long one.
Tome duchas más cortas en lugar de más largas.
You can save up to 150 gallons of water a month.
Y si usted hace esto, podría ahorrar 150 galones al mes.
Replace your standard shower head with a low-flow shower head.
Reemplace sus regaderas estándar por algunas de bajo consumo.
Standard shower head uses 5 gallons of water per minute.
Las regaderas estándar usan hasta 5 galones por minuto.
You will cut your water usage in half by changing your shower head.
Usted puede recortar el uso de agua solo cambiando sus regaderas.
From San Jose to San Francisco, from Los Angeles to Reno, the communities are getting together and they're helping the governments, the municipalities, and the fellow residents of the states in California, in Arizona, in Nevada to save water and conserve water. The good news is that in the month of May, after the mandate that Governor Jerry Brown of California issued, with the target of the 25% reduction of the water usage comparing to baseline of the 2013, the Californians, they came together and surprised even the governor by reducing the consumption of the water, and get this, 29%, even surpassing the 25% that the governor had in mind. This is according to new studies published in several newspapers. This only happened because of the media like us. I like to give a part of that credit to Lotus Communications and the staff, the team, to bring the awareness to the community, to local communities, residents. Everyone got together and they decided that this is not only an environmental issue, this is a social issue. This is an issue that we have to get together and show that we have the appetite to solve it. And as a result of that one, by having a brown grass rather than the green grass, by taking the shorter showers, by listening to shows like this, WaterAction 411, and similar ones, by going to the local pools rather than to your private pools, by taking care of reducing a gallon per day, maybe per family. We gave the tips on this show and the similar shows. So collectively, we were able, when I say we, I'm leaving California. I'm a resident of over almost 40, 35, 38 years in California. So as a resident of this great state, we were able to respond to the request of the governor of California and say, yes, we hear you, and yes, we respond to you. In some places, they even went up to 40% reduction comparing to baseline of the 2013. And this only happened because we care. We know that the water is a precious commodity. We know that we are the children of one planet only. We know that we cannot import the water. The people in Los Angeles, when they listen to this show, they know that their water is coming from 100 miles away. They know that, yes, they open the tap, they open the faucet, but this is not the water that they're going to be producing next door or 10 miles away. This water comes all the way from Northern California. And there's a shortage of water in Central Valley. There's a shortage of water in Sacramento. There's a shortage of water in San Jose. There's a shortage of water in a lot of places. When I talk later on to our guest, he will tell you that back east they don't have this problem. But here in the West, we do have this problem. And every one of us being acknowledged. If I had a way of seeing you, each one of you, I would hug you and I would shake your hand and I would thank you for doing this, because bringing down 29% was not an easy task. It's just like that you're driving a huge Mercedes, and now you're driving a hybrid, most economical car. I can talk about it like hours and hours, but one word, as the Tony Bonici, the original general manager of the Lotus Communication, told the Inside Radio newspaper, the very important newspaper, when they wrote an article about this Lotus Communications efforts, he said, collectively, we care about the community, and each and every one of us, we are conserving water. We are the children of one planet only.
Somos los niños de un único planeta.
California is facing a major water shortage, and we all can help.
California está enfrentando la peor sequía y todos podemos ayudar.
It may be true that 70% of the planet is covered with water.
Quizás es verdad que el 70% de nuestro planeta está cubierto con agua.
But only 3% is clean and suitable for human consumption.
Pero solamente el 3% es agua limpia, sustentable para el consumo humano.
Water is a precious commodity, and certainly more precious than gold and silver.
El agua es un bien muy preciado, más precioso que el oro y la plata.
Every drop counts.
Cada gota cuenta.
Please use water wisely.
Por favor, use el agua sabiamente.
Save our water, save your money.
Ahorre agua, ahorre dinero.
At Lotus Corporations, we care about the environment.
La Corporación Lotus se preocupa por el medio ambiente.
Let me bring Dr. Mac Rezai from Copenhagen, Denmark. He's a visiting professor here, visiting United States of California. He's in East Coast. And recently he was in California, then he flew back to Princeton, I suppose. And then the reason that I have asked him to join us for this conversation regarding the shortage of the water and water crisis in California is because a recent, as a matter of fact, today is like a few days that has been published a book review under the title of the Migration and Economic Development. And he will be talking to us about the relationship between the water crisis, migration, and hopefully I will ask him about the book review that he has done. Let's go ahead and say hello to him. Hello, Dr. Rezai, and I hope that you can hear me well down there in the East Coast.
Thank you very much for the invitation. And yes, I can hear you. The distance is very long, but I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. you are a professor at Denmark, Copenhagen, at which university?
I'm an associate professor at Roskilde University, which is just outside Copenhagen, Denmark. And the reason that I'm actually here in Princeton and also work with UCLA is an international research project funded by European Commission that brings me around the world, around the globe, in 24 different institutions. And what we do in this project is actually we measure different aspects of migration and economic development, and that is the kind of the topic of research issues that I work with and have been working with the last almost 20 years.
And we talked off the air, and you told me that the source of the migration has always been through the last several thousands of years. People, they migrate to the places that, first of all, there's the water or close to water, and that has been like the last several thousand years. And also you mentioned that even the birds, the animals, the first generations that they moved from places to places, the water has been a major issue, and lack thereof of the water has always been a big factor for people to stay down there or move from that place. Is that correct?
Yeah. If we look at the earth and the developments that we've been witness to the last many thousand years. If you look at it and if you just see human being as another species and living species of this world, what we can see is actually the way animals behave is actually very much similar to the way human beings behaves when it comes to very basic existential issues. When I put it in this way, is because I'm an expert in migration studies, and migration. The word migration basically means that you move from A to B. And this is exactly what the creatures and animals have been doing since the beginning. What if we just close our eyes and imagine how the world functions among the existing individuals? What we see is wherever you find water, you find the crowd of different kind of animals. From giants to the smallest animal, to birds, to even insects, they move toward water. And water means actually life. So simple it can be said. If we go back to history, to ancient history, what we see is when we look at the human civilization history, and the nest of civilization, what we see is wherever you've had water, people moved from outskirt areas, from different kind of suburban areas and remote areas, and they settled down wherever there was water.
So
looking at
basically, what we're talking about the the migration and creating of some sort of the lack of the water, or what you're saying is just that the people, animals, birds, all of them, they go towards the places that they can find a source of the water, which he has mentioned correctly is a source of life. Now, because the water is limited, so when the migration goes overcrowded, plus the number of the population of the Earth is kind of doubling, as you probably know, that last 50 years it has been doubled, if not more. So it's going to bring the water or lack thereof of the water as a social issue rather than the economical issue or environmental issue, or maybe a social economical issue. What's your research on that one, if you have done any?
Well, we can summarize whatever we have done in our research to very complicated theories and a number of highly theoretical hypotheses. That's one way. The other way is make it as simple as possible.
Okay.
When we make it as simple as possible, it is actually exactly like animal, birds, whatever the living creature that goes toward water and start to have their nest and their den around it. Humans have been acting exactly the same way. They move from different part of the world to places where you have the possibility of to start with drink and then feed yourself. This is actually the very beginning of why and how humans started their migration. If we make it a little bit complicated, but still not so theoretically, we can say that migration is a growing phenomenon. The reasons behind migration differs. People migrate normally to better financial opportunities. Most of the cases, they move to developed countries. And also, what we also see is people escape from wars, from natural disasters. And natural disasters, one of them could be the lack of water. And these things has led to these issues. The natural disaster part normally has been developing countries' disease or phenomenon. What we are facing now, especially in California, is that due to lack of water, many issues can arise that actually can force people to move from where they are settled and they're used to stay to different places. That means that when you have lack of water, it can lead to the fact that you are forced to find some alternatives. If you can find the alternative relatively cheap and relatively easy, then you stay. If you can't, then you move. It has been proven during the history, the last many decades and centuries and thousands of years. So I just start that to end up with to say that, okay, what will happen? People in industrialized world cannot feed themselves and cannot have water resources. That will lead to that they will move to other places as close as possible to where they stay. When you move from these places, due to the fact that there is insufficient water resources, that will actually lead to that there is a excess supply of housing, premises, industries, and people who want to move from A to B. And let's just imagine exactly the same situation that you are in and I am in. You are in the west coast of the United States. I'm in the east coast. Here we do not have any kind of water, insufficient water issue. Over California, you have it. If you see this opportunity, if you could get the same kind of job as you have in the western side of the United States, and you could swap it and come over to the eastern part or some other places which has no problem with water issues, then you will sell off whatever you have there and you move here. If suddenly a number of people do the same thing, that will mean that properties prices will fall, production will fall, number of workers and the labor force will fall, and that is the same as to say that wages will rise. So, in other words, to avoid such a dramatic scenario that I just told you, one could think of preventing a disaster before it happens.
So,
and it's normally cure is good, but prevention is better than cure. So,
if the migration is one of the causes of the shortage of the water, which is very possible, and the increase of the number of the people in one community creates some kind of the more preciousness for water, and California, for example, back to California, you're saying that when there are developed countries and they have the sanitation and the resource of the water and the other forms of the better lifestyle, so the migration from the undeveloped or developing countries, they start coming to those areas. So what I would like to ask you, based on your research, if such a research has been done, that if we can cure the problem at the source. In other words, places like India, for example, which are suffering a lot of water shortage and water contamination and water problem, or some other places, if we cure the issue in that area so that a lot of people, they do not move to the places like California or some other countries or some other states that they have limited source of the water, plus the climate change and global warming, which right now has become a very, very scientific fact that it is happening, and probably this year is going to be the last year that we can do something about the earth and just kind of be careful, like all the Californians that they are community-wise getting together to make sure that the shortage of the water is not going to happen. So is it fair to say that rather than just kind of the dealing with the influx of the migration to the developed countries or places that they have limited source of the water, if we collectively, on an international basis, we can take care of this problem at the source, whatever that source may be, and create some kind of lifestyle for the communities so they don't have to migrate, then a balance is going to be created. Does your research and studies as a scholar show that kind of possibilities?
Well, I would say that it's there's no evidence that indicates exactly the scenario that you are referring to, but there are some evidences that are indicating something else. When it comes to migration, and when it comes to migration based on natural disasters, with which a water shortage will be one of those. Normally, the migration happens within the country. So people move from one village to another village. People move from village areas and the rural areas to urban areas. This is what happens, or the other way around. People move from urban areas to rural areas, which is not so polluted, and maybe there might be some more water resources. The other fact that you are referring to, which is immigration issue, which is that people move people do not move internally in their own countries. They move externally. They move from, let's say, India to US, or from India to, or from US to Canada, or whatever it could be. They cross borders. They cross political and geographical borders. When they do that, it's mainly based on financial opportunities, which is better on the other side of the border. It could be due to escape from political issues or wars or other man-made catastrophes, which are not directly linked to natural resources, lack of natural resources. And that is due to the fact that normally when that kind of thing happens, it will hit the most deprived part of the community. And the most deprived part of any country, they have no human capital. They have no financial resources. They have no network or social capital to move from one country to another country.
Thank you so much, Dr. Razai. I wish we had more time. That I have been asking you about the more of the reviews that you have done on the book of the migration and the water and the economic development. We have been talking to Dr. Mac Razai, from assistant professor from the Copenhagen, Denmark, and visiting professor at the UCLA in Princeton. And thank you so very much. And I hope that you enjoy so much water that you have in East Coast.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be at your disposal, and good luck with your project and program. Thank you.
Install a high-efficiency toilet.
Instale un inodoro de alta eficiencia.
Be sure to test your toilet for leaks at least once a year.
Asegúrese de revisar su inodoro para que no haya fugas al menos una vez al año.
Put food coloring in your toilet tank.
Ponga colorante de alimentos en el tanque.
If it finds its way into the bowl without flushing,
si se filtra a la taza sin hacer una descarga,
there is a leak.
Hay una fuga.
Fix it and start saving gallons.
Reemplácelo cuanto antes y empiece a ahorrar galones.
Consider buying a dual flush toilet.
Considere la compra de un inodoro de doble descarga.
It has two options.
Tiene dos opciones.
A half flush for liquid waste.
Una descarga media solo para líquidos.
And a full flush for solid waste.
Y una descarga completa para residuos sólidos.
Remember, saving water.
Recuerde, ahorre agua.
Saving money.
Ahorre dinero.
WaterAction 411 program and Lotus Communications are proud to encourage listeners to conserve water in West Coast and also especially in Arizona, Nevada, and California. All the 32 of its stations in June began broadcasting the 10 and 15 seconds promos, as well as a 30 minutes long form. Please conserve water and share this message with your friends and families. We are the children of one planet only. Save water, save your money, save our planet. See you next time.